So, Lex Friedman from the Lex Friedman podcast.
This is the Lex Friedman podcast. To support it, please check out our sponsors in the description.
Subscribes to Verbal Artwork with Mr Rembrandt podcast. That's right, Lex Friedman subscribes to my podcast.
Verbal Artwork Podcast with Mr. Rembrandt.
So this is just a quick update for Mr. Rembrandt and the current things and reflecting for this year. So this has been an interesting and amazing year. We're getting ready to come into the new year. And today is December 25th. So happy holidays or Merry Christmas if you celebrate the holidays. As of today, an amazing thing happened. Lex Friedman has subscribed to the Verbal Artwork with Mr. Rembrandt podcast, which is my podcast if you haven't already known. Now, I've been running the podcast for about a year now. I've really gotten serious about it in the past 4 months. So the way that this happened was through the social media app Clubhouse. Now, those who know me know that I'm on Instagram and I'm on Twitter. I have a pretty decent following on there. And on YouTube, my following is pretty low, but I'm trying to increase it. I'm trying to get it better. And my following on my podcast is also pretty low. But so I thought it would be cool in the past few weeks to try out the Clubhouse app since I've heard a lot of buzz around it. As of today, I decided for the first time to raise my hand and to get on stage. Before then, I've bounced around in different rooms on Clubhouse and I never rose my hand. I just stayed in the background, just listened, just observed. Well, today I finally raised my hand to put on stage to explain my information on the topic of the room. And the topic was explain something positive that has happened to you for the year 2021. So when I raised my hand, I was able to get on stage and be the closing person of the room. I explained that I'm Mr. Rembrandt and I have a podcast, and my podcast is not as popular as some of the moderators in the room. And immediately one of the moderators in the room said, "Hey, I just subscribed to your podcast." And as you should know already, that moderator was Lex Friedman. Now, if anybody who doesn't know Lex Friedman is a notorious podcast host who has the show Lex Friedman on YouTube and Lex Friedman podcast on iTunes and anywhere you can get your podcasts from. He has a very large show, and I think it's definitely, if not the number one of the top shows for in technology in the world. Top podcast shows in the world for technology. So it's an honor to have him subscribe to my show. So I want to give a personal thank you shout out to Lex Friedman for subscribing to my podcast. It means the world. I think this is one step closer to get on the Lex Friedman podcast show. So that's one of my goals. This is one step closer to getting on those shows. I think it might be. Hint, 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 Lex Friedman. So not only does that give me more energy to work harder and put out the best shows possible, it also is a very good honor and enlightenment to have such a notorious person that I know will be listening to my show now. Now, hopefully I can put more energy into the show because I'm already putting a lot, but anything's possible when you have the right motivation. Now, another addition to that is the fact that nowadays how social media apps has allowed us to network and do interpersonal relations with individuals communication wise that would have never been done before and have never been done before. Now obviously there's a lot of negative implications for what is a result of social media, but we're not going to get into that, and that's for another video. But as we could see in this moment, my first time going up on stage on Clubhouse, I managed to get a notorious individual, Lex Friedman, to subscribe to my podcast. What an amazing thing. So, what an amazing year. As I explained when I had my time on stage reflecting on 2021, great year for my podcast, a great year for my Instagram growth, great year for my Twitter presence, which I've had for a while. And last but not least, before last but not least, I have had some good deals financially. I've also working more on my book. And last but not least, some amazing things that have happened family-wise. So, with that said, I hope everyone has had a great year. Again, happy holidays and Merry Christmas if you celebrated. And what a nice icing on the cake to say that Lex Friedman is following the Verbal Artwork with Mr. Rembrandt podcast. So if you haven't already, go over to iTunes, Spotify, or anywhere you listen to your podcast and subscribe to the Verbal Artwork with Mr. Rembrandt podcast. Make sure you subscribe to Mr. Rembrandt on Instagram. And make sure you subscribe to Mr. Rembrandt on YouTube. You can also follow me on Twitter at AR Rembrandt. So make sure you hit the like button. Again, make sure you subscribe. And make sure you stick around for more shows. Thanks for watching, Mr. Rembrandt. See you on the next video.